You're tuned into Balanced Life. Your Balanced Life podcast with Dr. Chris Biles, a space for people who want more energy, better recovery, calmer days, and long-term health without the hype or confusion. Here, we talk about nutrition, fitness, stress, habits, hormones, and everyday wellness in a way that feels practical, supportive, and real-life focused. Because supplements aren't the goal, your lifestyle, your strength, and your well-being are. This is about intentional health and a life lived in balance. Welcome to a balanced life. Welcome to a balanced life.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a Balanced Life podcast. I am your host, Dr. Chris Biles. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having an amazing day. And I hope you're having the day that you deserve, right? And with that being said, I'm saying that because, we're all about this journey, right? We're talking about health and wellness. We're talking about goals, right? Ways to accomplish your goals. And the one thing I would say that is if you're not setting out to achieve goals for yourself, I think that's something that you should definitely do, because the reason why is because once you set out a goal for yourself and you accomplish it, that is one of the best feelings in the world, and you should celebrate those goals that you could set out for yourself that you obtain. So, with that being said, when it comes to our health and wellness, I pray that you are not only setting out the goals for yourself to achieve whatever it is in your health and wellness, whether it be lifting a certain amount of weight or getting up for some days to work out, what have you. I believe that by setting these goals and actually accomplishing them, great things happen. So with that being said, welcome back to today's podcast. And I hope that you are doing well. We've been talking about a lot of different topics the last few months now that we've been on this journey together. A lot of different things, right? Whether it be, we just talked recently about momentum. We talked about sleep and how your body resets. And today I think we're going to really focus on kind of dive into connecting both of those with fuel. And if you were here before, you kind of heard me make a conversation. We talked about this prior when it comes to our food being fuel. And we touched pretty good on protein. We touched also on the different macros, which is also on top of the protein. You have your carbohydrates and you have your fats, healthy fats, hopefully to be specific. And all that is well and good, and all that ties together great when it comes to health, wellness, nutrition. But one thing that we really don't, I see this in what I do. One of the things that we don't really pay attention to or really focus on is that nutrition, or our food, is our fuel. And that's the only way it should be looked at. Unfortunately, we live in a time where people want to be known for whatever. And one of the things that we're being known for, some people are being known for, are mukbangings and overeating and overconsumption of food. And which is sad, because we talked about this before. Heart disease, diabetes, these things are running rampant in our society. And that's why I like, that we're trying to, there's many people out there that's trying to focus and talk about this. I think that's great. But unfortunately, many people don't want to hear these conversations. But our health is suffering for this. And not only on top of that, which is the obvious, I believe, but when when we think about food as being fuel, your body can be properly fueled, your body can be underfueled, or your body can be overfueled, right? And whatever the case may be, you're going to feel it one way or the other. If you're underfueled, you're going to be feeling it by low energy, brain fog, slow progress. You're not progressing as you think you should be. You're not hitting these numbers or hitting the muscle growth like you think you should, or even losing weight, right? Frustration comes along with this. Even when you're doing everything right, nutrition or your fuel can play a big part in you're not succeeding. Okay. So today we're going to break that down in a real practical way, like we always try to do here on Balanced Life podcast, on a Balanced Life. And so that's where we're going to be, and that's what our goal is today. So with that being said, let me start this by saying, like I always do, this information is for this information is for educational purposes only. By no means does it constitute for any type of medical advice whatsoever. If you need medical attention or medical advice, go see somebody right away that is a medical professional. And please don't forget about the naturopathic doctors. And for this topic, since we're talking about nutrition and fuel, don't forget to go seek somebody that is a registered dietitian as well, because they're going to be trying to help. They can help you whatever you need, whether it be weight loss or you're dealing with something that is for right, whatever it is, right? GERD, all different types of different topics. A registered registered dietitian is also going to be your go-to for something like this as well. So with all that being said, and without me with me fumbling over those words, let's get into today's topic. Okay, so we're going to look at why fuel matters. Fuel is so important in so many ways. Let's start here. Your body is not just responding to your workouts, right? It's responding to what you give it daily, right? If you are very busy and you're not giving it a lot of proper nutrition, your body's going to respond to that, right? Whether it be in a sluggish manner, whether you be gaining weight, whether it be losing weight, your body's going to respond to how much fuel you give it, or you doubt is by responding to what you give it daily. So food is not just about weight. It's about your energy. It's about recovery. It's about focus. It's about your mood, right? We talked about this, I think, briefly before, but your mood can be directly affected by the food that you're giving or the lack of nutrition thereof, right? So it could be your mood could be negative, your mood can be positive. It really depends on what you're giving it and you're putting into your body, right? Your mood, your focus, your performance, right? If you're an athlete and you're noticing that you're not hitting the numbers or hitting the performance that you think you should be hitting, your fuel or your food, your intake is going to greatly determine that, right? Back in the day when the Chicago Bulls were at their peak, they were really focused on hiring proper nutritionists, giving their athletes proper food. They really, oh my gosh, they really adopted that mindset of proper food and fuel for better performance, and it showed because those guys were doing, especially the second time around, those guys were doing some amazing stuff. And of course, you know, whatever you side of debate you lie upon, Michael Jordan was something else during that era as well. So everything you do, whether it's working out, building a business, or just getting through your day, is powered by what you put into your body, right? If you're noticing that you're struggling, right? What did you eat? I would look at what do you eat. There's been many commercials. Snickers was one of those commercials with Betty White back in the day, where like you're not yourself if you're hungry, right? Or you play like Betty White when you're hungry, and they give her them Snickers, and then right. Those are jokes, and although I would not recommend you go grab a Snickers to fuel yourself, I would recommend good quality food. But it's the same understanding, right? Is the mindset should be there when it comes to your food or your fuel that your body needs to perform at its highest level on a daily basis. And unfortunately, a lot of people underestimate this. They'll go hard in the gym, but skip meals. Can't do that. 100% you can't do that. You work all day long and understand, like, you push through hunger, and you can't study if you're in school, right? Let's try to stay consistent with that, right? You can't just run on coffee and snacks all day long, right? Coffee, and again, I love a good tasting cup of coffee, but you can't live off of coffee all day long. You can't live off of protein shakes all day long. You can't live off of that. I mean, you can, right? Eventually your body will tell you otherwise, but to perform at your highest level, you need good quality nutrition to make these things work, right? And then think about it when you wonder why you're crashing. throughout the day, right? Why do you need 15 cups of coffee, right? I might be exaggerating. Some of you might need that. I've worked with people that will have like 5, 6 cup of coffee in a day. But your body's crashing. You need something to get you through that moment where you're like, I'm struggling. I need something, right? And let's not forget about the men and women that are truck drivers, and they're subject to gas station food or fast food that's open 24 hours a day because they're over the road, right? And the body is not happy about that. Okay. So it's not always discipline. Sometimes it's just fuel. 100%, right? Um, I think that that's something that we really need to hone in on, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. Now, here's where a lot of people get it wrong. They either don't eat enough or make nutrition way too complicated. And unfortunately, nutrition in itself is complicated enough, but if we just stick with the basics, it shouldn't be as complicated as we make it out to be, or as many people, professionals, make it out to be, right? Nutrition is not complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated. Meal prepping, there are so many different people out there trying to help you make it as not complicated as possible, right? Through meal prepping or through, even through services that where you're buying your food already pre-made and it comes in. All you got to do is put it in, heat it up, and eat it, and it helps you through your day, right? So let's talk about underfueling first, okay? So if you're not eating enough, again, your energy drops, your workouts suffer. Maybe you not eating, maybe you're not eating. You're coming in from a long day of work and you're trying to get the gym workout in, and you're getting in the workout, and you're getting it in, of course, but it's not where you would like for it to be. It's not the strongest workout possible. It's just, yeah, I did it. Okay. Um, your workouts suffer, right? Your recovery slows down. I'm not recovering as fast as I once did. It's not just because of age, right? It could be just because you're not recovering. You're not, the fuel that you're putting inside your body is not allowing for your body to recover as it should. Okay. Your body starts holding on to stress, right? Cortisol levels start rising up. We start holding on to stress and again, stress, if you never heard the saying, stress kills. And that's 100% true. Okay. But it doesn't necessarily have to be the stress that your family stress. It could be the fact that your body is just stressed because it's not getting enough fuel. Okay. And mentally, let's not forget about mentally. Mentally, you're off, right? You feel off. You can't focus. You're irritable. You're unfocused, right? I just mentioned that you're drained. I'm just so drained, and right. And man, your food could be kicking your butt. Now, I will say this: if you're on a good diet, right, you're eating well, then there's gonna be some cases after a meal that you might get the little itis, as we call it. But that shouldn't be always the case, right? Especially when you're doing everything correctly, right? Getting up, getting the proper amount of sleep, working out, right? But you're missing that key component, and that's your fuel, right? Now, we talked about not getting enough, but let's go to the flip side about that. We're overcomplicating things, okay? Now, the overcomplication could be such as tracking everything, cutting everything out. Cutting everything out, guys, I would say is a definite no-no, and I would not do that, right? There are many, like this is where it gets complicated. There are so many diets out there, whether it be from like back in the day, Atkins, whether it be from um, keto nowadays, whatever. There's so many different diets out there. There's Mediterranean diets. There's so many things out there, so broad, right? And then there's things where people will just cut things out completely, right? And you can keep missing some key nutrients in your diet by doing this, okay? I would not recommend doing any of that, right? And not to say that don't do keto or don't do those type of things, right? What I would recommend is that you find something that's going to be sustainable for you that you can do over a long period of time. You're getting your proteins, which should be your number one driver in your diet. You're getting some good carbohydrates for your fuel, for your energy. You're getting some healthy fats like some avocados, avocado oil, just a little bit, not too much, because those fats, even though they're good for you, a lot of them can be high in calories. So if you're on a calorie reduction and you're trying to lose some weight, yeah, please don't overcomplicate it, but you still want to get the key things that you need in your diet. Like I said, protein, some healthy carbs, and some fats, right? But don't do things where it's going to restrict you too much, as well as don't do something that's going to cause you to hate what you're doing, right? You need to enjoy what you're doing, right? Seasonings could be your friend. You need to enjoy things that's going to be like, oh man, I don't mind doing this. I like doing this. You don't want to do a diet that's going to be, you hate it, it's restricting everything, because those are the diets, or those are the protocols, that don't last. And for our health journey, we want it to last. We want it to be something like, okay, look, I did all this stuff. I'm not crashing. I'm not feeling overwhelmed. My body and my brain's not burnt out because I'm not eating enough. I feel good, right? And your fuel is going to be the key driver of that, right? Weight loss as well. Your food is going to be a part of that. Weight gain, proper weight gain, putting on muscle, maintaining your fuel is the key driver to all of that, right? Again, don't try and cut everything out, and don't try every trend. I would highly recommend not doing that. All right. None of that stuff's sustainable, right? And the last thing that we want to do is something that we can't continue with. Health is not supposed to feel like punishment. It should feel like you're being supported. Okay. So what does fueling your body right actually look like? It's simpler than people think. Okay. You want to focus on, and I mentioned this so many times before, I've been saying this, and you should already know, if you've been listening to me some time, you should already know the regimen. Protein for muscle and recovery, carbs for energy, healthy fats for hormones and balance. That's the only way you should look at it. Protein for muscle and recovery, carbs for energy, and healthy fats for hormones and balance. Okay? Our brain needs fats, our heart needs fats, our hormones, we need the fats. Okay? For so long, the standard American diet demonized fats, low fat, low fat, low fat, low fat, low fat, and now they're coming out and said, "Oh, we was wrong about that." And I'm glad that, love them or hate them, I'm glad what the new health secretary is doing by prioritizing proteins and these. So, like I said, we need these things in our diet to really properly function, right? Fuel, energy, muscle recovery, those type of things. It's so much important, right? So we're not looking for perfection. So the problem is what we see, and I think because unfortunately we've been games been played in our lives with because people are trying to make a quick buck, right? So whenever there's a fad that comes out, and right now, before it was the veganism fad was out, now it's protein, and these things are really important. You do want vegetables because those are the forms of carbs. They're your health. They're your fiber, right? You do need those things, but again, and you do need protein, but again, these things should be balanced, right? And you want to be consistent with your meals, right? Stop doing things that's going to have you restrict so much from your diet. Stop doing things that's going to be, you see the fly by night. Oh, if you do this, you lose 10 pounds and this, that, and the third, right? Anything that happens quickly is something that should not be for us, right? We want to be over time consistent as much as possible, right? We don't need a perfect diet. We need a supportive one. That's the one thing I think we're not looking at, and it's one thing I want for us to take away from this today. We want a supportive diet. So start asking yourself, did I actually eat enough today? One of the things that I would say now, eating enough does not mean eating to be full. We've been taught that, and that's been one of the things that has been, um, man, especially for my generation, older generations, maybe a little bit, maybe the generation after me. But don't eat to be full, right? We should be satisfied, right? You're hungry. That's the time to eat. Go ahead and eat your food. Once you're done and you're satisfied and you've made or got in what you need from that meal, stop, right? Put some of that stuff away. If you you're meal prepping enough in one of those containers or whatever, that should sustain you for an actual time period. And then when you're hungry again, go eat, right? When you're not hungry, what I would say is don't eat when you're not hungry, right? So these are things you should ask yourself, did I actually eat enough today? Did I include real whole foods, right? Real whole foods are very important, right? Um, and honestly, if you're eating meat, I would hopefully getting something that you're getting sourced that's not, that's grass fed, especially if you're eating beef. Um, your chicken is not overly huge, right? Not excess hormones in your food. And that's another thing. But again, let's not be a little too complicated with that. That's where I go with my food. I want to make sure I'm getting my food from great sources. That is, it's they're either the whole grain is whole foods. The protein, especially if I'm eating beef, is grass fed, right? That's me, right? But if you can just start with those two things, did I eat enough today? Did I include real whole foods, fruits and vegetables type things? And also last thing, am I giving my body what it needs to function? Am I giving my body what it needs to function? Functionality is the name of the game, right? That is the only thing that's important. Did you give your body what it needs to function? Are you crashing later on in the day or at some point in the day? Are you feeling tired? Are you ran down? Are you not eating enough? Are you constantly hungry? Right? You can go throughout the day, lose weight if that's your goal, and not constantly feel hungry, not constantly feel ran down, not constantly feeling drained, right? So that's it. Just those three things. Did I eat enough today? Did I include real whole foods? Am I giving my body what it needs to function, right? Small improvements, again, over time, create real change. Okay. Now, I think that's a good time, a good place to break. So we're gonna take a quick break right there, and come back with the rest of this topic after these messages. Okay. So until then, just take a quick breather, go use the bathroom, go do something, come on back, and we'll get right back into this topic.
Sponsored by Balanced Life Supplements and their salted caramel whey protein. It's a smooth, rich protein shake with sweet caramel flavor. Tastes amazing whether you mix it with water, milk, or in a smoothie. Perfect for recovery, busy days. Anyone who wants a great tasting source of protein. Holistic doctor approved, third party tested. Check it out at BalanceLifeSubs.com. That's right, BalanceLifeSubs.com. Your protein source day and night.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Now, did you go get a snack? Did you have some whole food? All right, so now let's talk about something that people don't always connect with, okay? Food in your mind. What you eat affects how you think, how you focus, and how you feel emotionally, right? If you're feeling bad, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling angry, right, upset, your food can affect that or lack thereof, right? So if you're constantly skipping meals, eating low quality foods, right, vending machines foods, fast food, McDonald's, those type of things, oh my gosh, those type of things, right? Consuming a lot of excess sodium, right? And salt and sodium is a little bit two different things, but excess sodium in your food, right? You're eating low quality foods, or you're not getting enough nutrients. Your brain feels it. Not only your body feels it, your brain feels it. Okay. Again, the brain fog. that midday crash that we've been talking about, that lack of focus. Are you focused? A lot of times that's not random. That's your body telling you like, hey, tapping you on the shoulder. I need better fuel, buddy. What are you doing to me? Right? Again, your body will respond and tell you when you're messing up. Your body will say, hey to you, like, hey, I don't like this and I'm not going to perform right for you today. I don't care what you have going on. Guess what? You're sick. Boom. Right. Or whatever. Right. You got a cold. Your body does not like half of the stuff that we're doing to it. Our bodies don't like it. And so sometimes our body will just let us know. Right. Your body will let you. Sometimes it's warnings. Right. Like, I need better fuel. When you don't listen, your body will do other things. We really don't have as much control over our body as we think we do. If you don't believe me, case in point, try to stop a poop. try to stop when your body tells you got to poop, right? It could be at the most inopportune time. And if you got to go to the bathroom, guess what? You got to go to the bathroom. Ain't nothing stopping that. Shoot. I mean, even in the case of, you just fall asleep randomly. Not if you got narcolepsy, but if you're extremely tired and you're trying to stay up, you're trying to study, you guys done midnight oil and you've been studying for school or what have you, and you know what I'm talking about. If you're just tired, your body's gonna be like, at one point it's gonna be like, man, screw you, dude. I need some sleep, and you'll wake up and don't know how you fell asleep when you fell asleep because your body just said, I've had enough and it's time to stop. So I think it's in our best interest sometimes not to do these things to our body, not to do extra stuff to our body, but to just be in harmony with our body. Because again, our body will let us know, right? If you're not in control, if you're not eating properly, like I said, you'll be angry and won't even know it. Your body will crash on you sometimes. It's just what it is. What can you do, right? So when you start eating better consistently, you don't just see physical changes. You feel clearer. You're more stable. You're more in control. And that's what it's all about. That equilibrium, the balance that we need. And I'm all about balance, as we know with the podcast. But guys, being you're having a body and mind in balance. Oh my gosh, right? Your body will do what you tell it to do for a certain amount of time until it gets tired of doing these things, until it's tired of you beating into the ground. Okay. So let's stop beating our body into the ground and let's start being at harmony, in sync with our body. Okay. Now I keep saying this. This has been the what we've talked about from the very beginning of this conversation, the beginning of all of our podcasts. Our goal is not to be perfect. And I think that's where we start messing up when we think things have to be perfect. You're going to mess up. We're going to have times where we're going to mess up, guys. It is just what it is. It's you can't you're not going to be perfect all the time. Perfection rarely exists. Okay? Now the goal is to strive for perfection. Right? For those of you who read the Bible says that just as well. The Messiah told his followers to be you perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Now, it's not saying you're not. I mean, the goal is to get there, right? To do the things, to follow the path, to do things properly. The goal is to get to perfection. But along the way, there's going to be stumbles. There's going to be mess ups. There's going to be falling down. There's going to be mistakes that's going to be made, right? You're not going to get it right off the bat. There's going to be mistakes that's going to be made along the way. And the goal is to get up from those mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and keep pushing toward that goal, even no matter what it is, whether it be business, whether it be your weight, whether it be your spirituality. It is a constant journey that must constantly be attended to strive for perfection, right? And with that being said, you're not going to be perfect. We would love for it to be perfect. We would love for perfection. But as we're moving toward that goal, we're seeing changes little by little. Okay. The goal is to build something you can actually maintain. Maintaining maintenance is the biggest part of our life, right? So instead of asking what's the best diet, right, which I wish that we have never had got to that point, instead of asking what's the best diet, start asking what can I do consistently. And unfortunately, those aren't the things that are fun. Those aren't the things that are consistency, talking about being consistent and everything. Those aren't the things that go viral, so to speak. Those are the things that are boring, right? People want the thing that's going to you're going to get you that viral moment. You're going to get everything your heart's desired. The microwave society, we started that with that whole saying years ago about we're in a microwave society because we want everything right now. We want instant gratification for the things we think that we want. And again, that's never the case, right? There comes steps. There's a steps that come through with all this, right? There are steps there that needs to be taken. There are consistencies that need to continue happening, right? Maintaining what you're going to do, right? There's, just something simple as learning a new skill. It takes time. As much as I would love it, I would love to be able to learn how to play the piano just by. There's some people that can do it. It's not impossible, right? But I would love to be able to learn the piano just by, okay, I want to play the piano and then get up, I'm playing the piano. No, there's steps I got to take. I got to learn. I got to learn how to read music. I got to learn. I got to take, it's probably going to be some years and years and years before I'm at a level where I can play properly. Who knows, right? Maybe it's months, but it's going to take some time. And the same thing goes for overall health, right? It's just something that you can actually maintain. So instead of asking again, what's the best diet? What can I do consistently? So maybe you just eat the 3 meals a day, solid meals a day, right? Don't worry about the calories. Don't worry about all that other stuff. Just eat good solid meals 3 times a day, right? And honestly, I would argue that it doesn't really matter what time you eat breakfast. Your first meal of the day is always going to be breakfast because you're breaking the fast. Your body was fasting from the time you went to bed to the time you woke up or to the time you ate your first meal. So that's always going to be breakfast. So it doesn't matter what time you eat that. Just get it in. Don't wait so long before you eat. And by the time you eat, you're starving. You're eating everything in sight because you haven't had nothing to eat, right? Just like the whole saying, you don't go to the store hungry, right? It helps you make better decisions when you're fueled properly, right? Prep your meals, right? Adding more protein to your diet. If you can get all of your meals protein, right? Cooking your meals, try not to rely so much on pre-processed foods such as cereals and those type of things, simple sugars and those type of things. Have full good meals, right? When you're eating grilled chicken and beef and whatever, duck, goat. I love all those type of meats, but wherever you get your protein from, just include adding more protein to your diet. As a whole, again, you've heard me say this before, we're not getting enough protein in our diets. Drink more water, right? Either you eat your water, like we talked about before, with your hydration, with your fruits and vegetables, or you're drinking more water, just getting it in, right? Again, a lot of times we may think we're hungry, but it could be because we're thirsty. Okay. Again, prepping your simple meals ahead of time, right? On Sundays, make Sundays be the day you cooking, 3 or 4 days worth of breakfasts, or you're cooking your lunches for about 4 days. That way you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat. You can take your food to work. You don't have to worry about going to the food truck at lunchtime. You've already got something that's pre-planned, healthier for you, better options, right? And you don't have to worry about or just stopping on your way to work and grabbing Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's, which is, oh my gosh, all that sugar and calories first thing in the morning. It's just a better option, right? Prepping simple meals ahead of time. Nothing extreme. There's nothing extreme about that. Just consistency. Consistency is the key to the game, right? Like the little engine that could. Just kept chugging along, right? Like if you ever watch Major Payne, right? Just kept chugging along. Chugga, 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 right? I'm not going to tell the whole story. But anyway, just consistency. That's all that matters. That's all you need to do. Because your body doesn't need extremes. Your body can't handle extremes, right? It needs support. Are you supporting your body with what it needs? Okay. Now, if you're doing these things, then you can see some real results. I highly believe that. I 100% believe that in my heart. But don't give up so easily. Give yourself the chance for these things to work, right? Especially if you're eating whole grain foods, getting the staple of your diet is protein. If you're doing those type of things, guys, you're gonna see it come. But you just gotta stay consistent and you gotta not give up to the goal, right? But if you are in need of something, some type of help, and you're not quite there, you're not quite right, don't hesitate to seek some professional guidance, such as a registered dietitian. A registered dietitian, guys, is going to be key. Now, we've talked about hormones and those type of things before in the past, guys. Maybe you need to get tested for food allergies also, right? Maybe there's certain things that you don't know. But again, if you have the guidance that you need with a registered dietitian, or if you have somebody that's going to be in your corner, right? You're living with somebody that's actually, you guys are eating together. Me and my wife, we do this all the time. However, we're gonna really focus on eating this and focus on this. It's not a thing where I'm the only one doing it and she's not, or vice versa. We're doing it together as a family. So sometimes that is one of the key things that can help you get over the top, because face it, eating and food can be social, and again, it can be emotional. And many times we correlate relationships with food. Okay. And many people, if they want to go out to eat, is a good time. It's time to, hang out with one another. Or you go to mom's house and she's cooking these gigantic meals, and the whole 9 yards of soul food and all this other stuff, and you're putting all this weight on, or your health is a little bit too much, or not where you want it to be. Let me say it that way. Right. That's all part of a social gathering. And not to say that's wrong with that, but we have to take into consideration that maybe we do that one time, but it should not be an all-time thing. It should be a treat here and there, right? But we do want to consistently eat as proper as possible. And so it may be where you're not spending so much time with these people that like to go out to eat, or you suggest something else. Or maybe go to a movie, right? Maybe whatever. We just get a cup of tea, right? Or you go with them and you focus on your part of it. You're eating something, you're getting your tea instead of coffee, or you're going getting something with a higher protein count, whatever the case may be, whatever. I don't want to go deep into all that, but it can be hard. It can be hard, especially when you're the only one trying to do this and everybody is fine or want to continue doing what they're doing. Stay consistent. Keep on keeping on. As the old people will say, just keep on keeping on. All right. Stay consistent, because it's gonna pan out, especially if you are in need of changing the way you're eating for your overall health, right? Ideally, right, we would love for these things to be, you're consistently doing these things from before your health takes a nosedive, so to speak. I hate to, for lack of a better way to say that. But even after that, if you get into a rhythm and you just try to eat as healthy, stay consistent eating healthy as possible, right? It should be a good thing. So if you take anything from any of the stuff today that we talked about, Let it be this, that you can have the discipline, you can have the routine, and you can even have the rest. But if you're not fueling your body properly, you're making everything harder than it needs to be. Right? Very hard. Very hard. So let's not make it hard for ourselves. Let's make it as simple as possible. Because honestly, your energy, your focus, your results, they all start with how you feel yourself. And if you're run down, you're not going to get those results. You're not going to get to the next level where you want to be at. You're going to be stuck. And until you fix it, it's going to be very hard. You might have better days than others, but it's going to be very hard. I mean, honestly, if you've heard anything I said today, you probably can relate in some form or another that your food, or you're just feeling run down and you not know why. Maybe your food, and honestly, the food is the first thing I would go to. I mean, there's so many different sayings about surrounding food, such as you can't outrun a bad diet, right? That's the most realest statement ever in the history of statements, right? If you are consistently eating terrible, but you're working out on a daily basis, but you can't quite understand why you keep gaining weight, you need to check your food. You need to check what's going into your mouth first, right? Right? Maybe you're lifting as heavy as possible, but you know what? I'm not putting on much muscle. Check your food out. I am getting up. I'm getting enough sleep, but my goodness, I feel run down. I feel crashed. I feel like crashing throughout the day. What are you putting in your body? Right? I can't say it any other way, guys. I hope that is one of the biggest help to you. I hope that's a help. If you've heard this, if it resonated with you, I'm so glad. If you know somebody that could listen to this and take this information, also, I'm glad. Take this and share this. I'm going to say to you right now, this may be a little choppy because when I recorded this, my camera kept cutting off on me, so I kept trying to go back right into it with my thought. So, but I fixed it. If that was if you noticed that, and I'm gonna try and edit this out, but if I'm not that successful, you know why. My camera was acting really strange this go around, and I'm almost through it. So hopefully you was able to get, like, the flow wasn't too messed up for you. I'm gonna try to do my best to edit it before I post it. But if any of this resonated with you guys and this has been helpful, leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought. If there's anything that any of you guys want to talk about on this podcast, leave me a comment and I'll do my best to get to it. But with that being said, I hope you're good. I hope this helped you. Share with someone who's on their health journey as well. And as always, you know the drill. Stay consistent. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you in the next episode. Take care, guys.
Thanks for listening to A Balanced Life with your host, Dr. Chris Biles.
Take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit.
Keep moving forward. See you next time.